The film opens with a grim message. The new Dark Ages. Humanity once tried to stop an ecological collapse by turning to genetic technology. But the plan failed. Artificial viruses and organisms escaped into nature, destroying edible plants, animals, and most of the human population. Now, only a few powerful groups survive inside fortified cities known as citadels, while the rest of the world struggles to live in the wastelands outside. People depend on the citadels for food, using their genetically coded seeds. But these seeds are designed to grow only one harvest, keeping everyone dependent on them forever. The film never mentions an exact time, but it's clearly set in a distant future where Earth has completely changed. The engineered viruses and organisms that spread across the world transformed the plants, mutating them into dangerous forms. Many now have strong defense mechanisms. Some can destroy a human in seconds and feed on energy from both humans and animals. But since animals are almost extinct, only a few humans remain. The wealthy live safely inside the citadels, enjoying long lives and endless food. Outside, the rest of humanity slowly fades away. The story begins in a barren wasteland where 15-year-old Vesper, the main character, searches for food. Around her lie giant broken machines, once used for farming, but now the soil can no longer grow anything edible. After finding a little food, Vesper walks toward the forest. The trees seem alive, almost breathing, and some plants are dangerous enough to harm humans. Vesper owns a drone connected to her father's mind. In this world, most technology is synthetic and biomechanical, powered not by solar energy, but by a special kind of bacteria. Her father once served in a Citadel army, but was badly injured in the war. Now paralyzed and kept alive by bioconstructs, he can only communicate through the drone made from the same biotechnology. Nothing in this world is purely mechanical anymore. Everything is part machine, part living organism. All of this happened because of humanity's reckless experiments. For those interested in synthetic biology and botany, Vesper is a truly fascinating film. Vesper's father can't eat on his own, so she feeds him through a tube directly into his stomach. His body is weak, but his mind stays active through the drone connected to him, allowing him to guide her. The movie doesn't show the Citadel's world. It focuses on the ruined lands outside, where food is scarce and no laws remain. The setting feels like a blend of Mad Max's Wastelands and Blade Runner 2049's tone. Food comes from Citadel-made seeds that grow crops only once. These sterile plants can't produce new seeds. The Citadels trade them only in exchange for valuable things, often human blood. Long ago, humans created artificial beings called jugs through genetic engineering. They served as laborers and were never treated as real humans, much like Blade Runner's replicants. Back to the story. Vesper plans to visit an old lab. Before leaving, she feeds her father. Skilled in biohacking and synthetic biology, she keeps experimenting despite lacking proper tools. Her dream is to find a new form of DNA that could grow food again, or at least reduce hunger in this dying world. Vesper goes to the old lab with her father. He's there with her through the drone. She does some experiments, gathers what she needs, and they start back home, but spots a wandering person called a pilgrim. The pilgrims drift around collecting wreckage. They wear veils so no one sees their faces and never speak. On the way home, Vesper tells her father she wants to follow the pilgrims someday, but he says they don't really go anywhere. They just wander until they die. Vesper isn't convinced. At their house, they find the perimeter plants, the living security, have been cut and their biogenerator sabotaged. Vesper fixes a leak so the generator can stay partly working. That generator, powered by a special bacteria, is what keeps her father alive. Without it, he would suffer. The only nearby human is Jonas, who once traded with the Citadel and controls an artificial farm and supplies. Jonas is selfish and cruel. Vesper has to go to him for food and seeds. When she arrives, a heavy object has fallen on an injured Jug, an artificially created human. Jonas orders a child to finish the jug. The boy obeys, and the jug is put down, even though it clearly shows feelings. Vesper tells Jonas about the theft at her home, but Jonas replies that everything here is barter. Nothing is free. During Vesper's conversation with Jonas, she firmly says she doesn't want to become one of his breeders. This suggests Jonas might be exploiting women in exchange for food and supplies, using them to produce children he later controls. These children seem to be treated like servants, providing blood and labor that Jonas trades with the Citadel for seeds and other resources. Vesper visits Jonas to trade her blood for the special bacteria that powers her biogenerator, which keeps her father alive. There, we see Jonas's darker side. He secretly desires Vesper and wants her to stay with him, even though she's his niece. Because Darius and Jonas are actually brothers. Vesper already knows his nature and refuses when he says he'll care for her if she stays. Jonas mocks her, saying she's ordinary like everyone else, but Vesper insists she's different. She has skills and dreams of escaping this dying world someday. After giving her blood, she asks for the bacteria, but Jonas delays, saying she must return in 2 days after he sells it. Angry and desperate, Vesper demands her blood back, but Jonas throws her out. Her father wouldn't survive 2 days without power. Vesper, unafraid of Jonas and determined not to be anyone's slave, sneaks into his farm that night. She steals bacteria from his biogenerator and also finds a few seeds, which she takes with her. A boy named Skinny spots her, but stays silent. As she leaves, Citadel wing gliders, living biomachines, fly overhead. She returns home safely and restores power. The next day, her father warns her to return the stolen seeds, fearing Jonas's revenge. But Vesper refuses, saying she needs them for her experiments. She hopes to create something valuable enough to earn a place in the Citadel, though her father knows it's impossible. Their argument grows, and Vesper, upset, runs off into the forest, where she finds a wounded woman from the Citadel. Mutated plants around her are draining her blood, showing how deadly and evolved nature has become. The visuals in this scene are stunning and eerie, perfectly capturing the film's world. The woman Vesper found was still alive, but unconscious. Vesper saved her and brought her home. She treated her wounds and later told her father, Darius, about the stranger while repairing the biogenerator. Darius warned her to take the woman back where she found her, but Vesper believed this lady might help them reach the Citadel. Darius disagreed. People like them had no value there. The woman's name was Camellia. She regained consciousness and overheard their conversation, becoming frightened. She reached for a knife, but when she accidentally made a sound, Vesper rushed to help her. Camellia's first question was about her companion. Vesper told her she was alone, but Camellia insisted that her partner, her father, must be nearby and needed help. She asked Vesper to find him, promising a reward in return. Darius distrusted anyone from the Citadel. He reminded Camellia that they'd already helped her, and no one from her world ever came back to repay kindness. Camellia admitted she had lost contact with her people. Vesper, however, saw this as a chance. She agreed to help, planning to search for Camelia's father in the morning since the forest was too dangerous at night. That evening, Vesper shared food with Camelia, showing how strange and limited their meals were in this world. Later, they talked quietly. Vesper asked if Camelia could really help them. Camelia assured her that her father was influential and would surely offer support. Just then, Darius suffered a painful seizure. Vesper panicked, not knowing what to do, until Camelia gently kissed his lips, somehow calming him into sleep. It was a strange moment. Perhaps the Citadel people had altered their bodies in unusual ways. The next day, Vesper and her father set out to find Camelia's father. On the way, Vesper asked if Citadel residents truly had such abilities, but Darius didn't know. Soon, they came across the wreckage of the glider and found the cockpit, sealed under glass. Vesper tried to open it, but couldn't. Just then, Jonas and his group arrived. Seeing Vesper there surprised him. He questioned what she was doing so far from home. Vesper hid the truth, not revealing that she had already found a survivor. Jonas opened the cockpit, but instead of helping the injured man inside, he ended his life, ignoring Vesper's desperate pleas to stop. Later, he found a piece of cloth suggesting another passenger had survived. Vesper tried to act normal so Jonas wouldn't suspect anything. After helping with his tasks, she returned home in tears, wondering how to tell Camelia what had happened. Her father suggested lying, saying they found no one, though Vesper hated the idea. Still, she had no other choice. Back home, when Camelia asked about her father, Vesper quietly said they hadn't found him. Camelia was puzzled since the glider had crashed nearby. Darius told her they'd inform the Citadel at dawn. That night, Vesper took Camelia to her greenhouse, showing her the plants she had genetically modified. They were beautiful and glowing, proof of Vesper's skill and curiosity. Camelia was amazed. Vesper dreamed of improving her work, hoping it might one day help her escape this dying land and reach the Citadel. Camelia tells Vesper that her father was also an expert in synthetic biology and would have admired her work. Back home, Camelia asks about Vesper's mother. Vesper says she isn't dead. She left one day to follow the pilgrims and never came back. Vesper shows her an old book of animal drawings. Real animals no longer exist. The Citadel can recreate them in labs, but they're only artificial copies. Camelia teaches Vesper to mimic animal sounds, and they grow close. Vesper wonders why Citadel people create jugs instead of hiring humans. Camelia explains that jugs are programmed to obey, while humans can't always be trusted. Vesper dislikes this answer, but brings out her mother's musical instrument to share a peaceful moment. Camelia plays, while Vesper hums a tune her mother taught her. The next day, Vesper and Darius sneak into Jonas's farm to steal a transceiver that could contact the Citadel. Jonas catches them, having already discovered that she stole his seeds. He questions Vesper about the missing passenger, but she stays silent. Jonas says he fixed her drone, but doesn't believe in charity. When he approaches her with bad intentions, Vesper grabs the moment and escapes. Her father's drone now fails, and while running, she finds Skinny's body. Jonas had ended his life. Soon, Jonas's men capture her and burn a mark on her hand, branding her as his property. Vesper returns home shattered and worried about Darius. Camelia comforts her and promises things will be fixed when her father comes. Then Vesper tells her the truth. Camelia's father is dead. Camelia asks to be taken to him, and when she sees the body, she breaks down. Vesper tries to calm her. Vesper then notices a mark on Camelia's neck and realizes Camellia is actually a jug, not a real human. Camellia admits she was made by the person she calls Father. She is more advanced than other jugs, so advanced that Citadel authorities wanted her. Her owner was fleeing with her when the glider crashed. She lied to Vesper about being rescued. Furious at the deception, Vesper strikes Camellia. Later, Vesper fixes Darius's drone. Because Jonas has branded Vesper, she decides to take a risky plan. Bring Camellia to Jonas, hoping he will let Camellia go. Darius tells her to forgive Camellia. She was only following orders. Camellia tries to end her life, feeling purposeless without her owner. Vesper stops her and says they must help each other. Camellia agrees. Vesper asks to test a biosample from Camellia and finds an unusual DNA pattern, a locked code unlike normal DNA. Camellia plays a tune she learned from her owner while Vesper watches the pattern. As the tune plays, the DNA lock begins to open. Vesper realizes the pattern is actually an unlock code hidden in Camellia's DNA, a key that can unlock the Citadel seeds so they will grow repeatedly, not just once. If used, this could solve the food crisis because the seeds would stop being sterile and could regrow many harvests. Vesper was overjoyed after discovering the code. She immediately told her father that they would never go hungry again. Camellia then realized that her master had planned to use this secret code as a trade to gain refuge in another citadel. Darius advised Camellia to take Vesper there and barter the seed code for safety, but Vesper refused to leave her father behind. While Vesper was later at the old lab, Jonas arrived at their home and found Camellia. Realizing she was from the Citadel, he threatened to cut off Darius's life support unless she went with him. Camellia agreed, but Jonas soon discovered she was actually a jug, shocking him. He tried to harm her, but Vesper arrived and attacked him. They overpowered Jonas, yet Vesper couldn't bring herself to end his life. Instead, she offered a deal, explaining the seed code that could grow endless food, ending starvation and conflict. Jonas pretended to agree, but secretly contacted the Citadel, hoping for a reward. His greed proved fatal. When the Citadel guards arrived, they eliminated Jonas first to silence him. Vesper and Camellia quickly realized the Citadel troops were close. Darius told Vesper to flee with Camellia while he distracted them. Vesper refused to leave, but after his insistence, she agreed, promising to return for him. Before the Citadel soldiers arrived, Vesper and Camellia escaped. As the troops entered the house, Darius used his drone to trigger an explosion in the biogenerator, destroying it, and himself along with the soldiers. From a distance, Vesper saw the blast and broke down in grief, comforted by Camellia. The soldiers continued to chase them, so the two ran through a forest filled with toxic plants. The plants attacked the soldiers, but some still followed. Realizing they would never stop, Camellia decided to surrender herself. She knew Vesper wouldn't allow it, so she kissed her, putting Vesper to sleep. When Vesper woke the next morning, Camellia was gone, taken by the Citadel forces. Returning home, she found everything destroyed and felt heartbroken. Yet she refused to give up. Vesper began planting the unlocked seeds, symbolizing new hope. Soon she heard a noise. Frightened, she drew her knife, only to see the orphaned children from Jonas's farm. With Jonas gone, they had no one left. Vesper took responsibility for them and followed a pilgrim, realizing she couldn't rebuild the world alone. Reaching the pilgrim's camp, she climbed a tall tower and looked toward the shining citadel. She could have gone there to live in comfort, but instead, She released the seeds into the air, choosing to restore life to the dying world. And that's where this beautiful film comes to an end.